At my funeral, I found that my boyfriend of 2 years and my best friend were laughing recklessly. In the corner, however, Lu Jingqing, my sworn enemy who had been against me since childhood, was crying his heart out with his head in his hands. I jolted up in my dying state, realizing that I had lived my life in vain all these years. Suddenly, a line of glowing words appeared in front of my eyes. Dear. Watch the advertisement to be resurrected and reborn. 1. After watching a 25-second brain gold advertisement, I was reborn and returned to my senior year of high school. The moment my vision was restored, I saw Lu Jingqing, who was leaning beside me and smiling at me. Instantly, tears streamed down my face. Lu Jingqing regained his previous unruly look in an instant. When he turned his head and saw me crying, he panicked again. No, a term of endearment can be translated as, my dear girl, I didn't bully you, why are you crying? I didn't want to cry either, but the scenes from my previous life were too harsh. I dried my tears, looked at Lu Jingqing, who was looking for toilet paper for me, and rushed into his arms directly. He was hugged by me, and his hand froze in midair instantly. His ears turned red immediately. Jiang Qiqi, what are you doing? After a while, he realized that I was acting a bit abnormal and was about to push me away. I tightened my arms around him. Can you stay still and let me hug you for a while? After I said that, Lu Jingqing really didn't move until I released my arms around him. After letting go of him, I blinked my eyes at him. He reacted and turned around and ran away. I looked at his back, feeling mixed emotions inside. Lu Jingqing and I had been engaged since childhood, but I didn't like him, because ever since I could remember, my unreliable stepmother had told me that my father arranged the engagement between me and Lu Jingqing just for the sake of profit. At first, I didn't believe it, but until I actually saw the assets of Lu Jingqing's family, and with my stepmother repeating in my ear day after day and year after year that I would lose my freedom if I married Lu Jingqing, I began to hate Lu Jingqing. Whenever I saw him, I would speak harshly to him. At first, Lu Jingqing would patiently explain to me, but I wouldn't listen. Later, when I went to junior high school and was in the same class as Lu Jingqing, he also became rebellious. When I scolded him, he would retort me without mercy. It was from that time on that Lu Jingqing and I became the kind of people who couldn't stand each other. In the year of high school, I made a very good friend. Her name was Meng Qing, but Lu Jingqing wouldn't let me play with her, saying that she wasn't a good person. I still remember that day when I firmly shook off Lu Jingqing's hand and told him, I like everything that you don't like. Since then, Lu Jingqing never came to find me again, and through my so-called good friend, I had my first love in my life. After the college entrance examination, when I learned that Lu Jingqing went to study in City A, I applied for a school in City B. The two cities were more than 2,000 kilometers apart, and I never saw that boy who made me unhappy every day again. In my sophomore year of college, I finally got my wish and dissolved the engagement with Lu Jingqing, and I also died that afternoon because of a car accident. After I died, I found out that my so-called best friend Meng Qing was actually the biological daughter of my stepmother, and my favorite boyfriend Song Yishuan was an actor that she had hired with a large sum of money. My life was like a joke, and the only redemption in this joke was pushed away by me with my own hands. 2. Qiqi. Are you going to the coffee shop after school? I'll introduce a friend to you. My thoughts were interrupted, and Meng Qing appeared in front of me. I frowned and looked down at my phone. October 24, 2015. Today was the day when I met Song Yishuan. Seeing that I didn't speak, Meng Qing took my hand. Qiqi, accompany me. A super handsome guy will come this afternoon. You'll definitely be disappointed if you don't come. I resisted the urge to roll my eyes and blinked my eyes pretending to be innocent. How handsome is he? Is he more handsome than Lu Jingqing? If he's not more handsome than him, I won't go. Meng Qing was about to reply, but the moment she heard Lu Jingqing's name, she was stunned. It took her a long time to ask, Qiqi, you don't like Lu Jingqing, do you? Why are you mentioning him? I closed the textbook in front of me and leaned against the bench. Who said I don't like Lu Jingqing? As soon as I finished speaking, Meng Qing seemed to panic and quickly started speaking ill of Lu Jingqing. Qiqi, how can a person like him be worthy of your liking? He bullies you every day. I can't stand it. Are you confused because of a fever? After Meng Qing finished speaking, she reached out to touch my forehead. I opened her hand in disgust. Who has a fever? It's you who has a fever. How is Lu Jingqing not worthy of my liking? I'm telling you, Jiang Qiqi, like Lu Jingqing the most in my life. I will marry no one but him. As soon as I finished speaking, there came the sound of a glass breaking at the door. I looked in the direction of the sound. It was Lu Jingqing, who had just come back after getting water. Suddenly, my face turned red all the way to the back of my ears. A sense of shame welled up in my heart, and I instinctively crouched under the desk, praying in my heart. He didn't hear it, he didn't hear it, he didn't hear it. Under the desk, I saw a pair of Nike shoes striding towards me. A somewhat amused voice of Lu Jingqing came from above my head. Jiang Qiqi, what are you doing? I bit my lip, gently patted my face, and then pretended that nothing had happened and replied, nothing. My pen dropped, I'm picking it up, haha. As soon as I finished speaking, another head appeared under the desk. The moment I met his eyes, the blush that had just faded from my face rushed up again. Lu Jingqing smiled gently. Did you pick up the pen? I felt like crying but had no tears. Then I fled in a hurry. 3. For the rest of the afternoon, I instinctively avoided Lu Jingqing. When school was over, I took my school bag and rushed out of the classroom like a mouse. At night, I hid under the quilt. Every time I thought of Lu Jingqing, my heart would pound. It was a feeling that I had never had when I was with Song Yishuan before. I touched my chest and murmured to myself, this should be liking, right? Early the next morning, I was walking towards the classroom with soy milk in my hand. I was wondering whether I should avoid Lu Jingqing today. As a result, without paying attention, I bumped into someone. The soy milk spilled all over me. I looked at the person in front of me, and there was also soy milk on him. I instinctively apologized. The other person seemed to have expected it and took out a pack of toilet paper from his pocket. Classmate, it's me who should say sorry, you can wipe it first. A familiar voice sounded. I looked up and met Song Yishuan's gaze. Why did I still meet him? At this time, Meng Qing somehow popped out. I instantly understood everything. So they were acting here. Hey, Yishuan, why are you here? Wait a minute, Qiqi, what happened to you? I frowned and didn't want to watch Meng Qing acting hypocritically here. I turned around and was about to leave, but a figure blocked my way one step ahead of me. Why are you so careless? I looked up and met Lu Jingqing's beautiful eyes. When Meng Qing saw Lu Jingqing, her eyes lit up and she quickly smiled and said, it's okay, let Yishuan take Qiqi to deal with it. We should go back to class first. I rolled my eyes. She really worked hard and still wanted to create a space for us to be alone. How could I fall for it this time? No need, no need. Before I could finish speaking, Lu Jingqing had already refused her one step ahead and took my hand and led me away. Lu Jingqing walked very fast, and I could only trot to keep up. When I looked back, I saw Meng Qing staring at me viciously. When she saw me looking at her, she immediately put on a smiling face again. It's really disgusting. I was taken downstairs by Lu Jingqing all the way. I shook off his hand and squatted on the ground, panting. Why don't you play with your good best friend anymore? Lu Jingqing stood beside me with his arms crossed. I waved my hand and stood up from the ground. Good best friend? Who said she's my good best friend? Lu Jingqing found it a bit funny and looked at me. Who said a few days ago that Meng Qing is my Jiang Qiqi's best friend in this life and no one can separate us two? He imitated my previous tone and repeated what I had said. He's so petty. He actually remembered this matter until now. But come to think of it, I did do such a thing. I also said that I would never like you in my life, I murmured in a low voice. He suddenly leaned closer. What did you say? I bit my lip and stepped on his foot hard. I'm not saying it anymore. After that, I turned around and left. 4. After I went to the toilet and wiped the soy milk off my body, I got up and was about to go back to the classroom for class. As soon as I walked out of the toilet door, I saw the familiar figure of Song Yishuan again. When he saw me, he immediately walked forward. He had already changed into a set of clothes and then took out a pack of toilet paper from his pocket again. Before I could speak, he had already pulled out a piece of paper and reached out to help me wipe the wet place on my body. Sorry, classmate, I was too careless. I didn't have time to apologize to you properly just now. Let me wipe it clean for you. I jumped back like a catapult, creating a distance between us. His hand froze in place, and he pushed the glasses on his nose awkwardly. This action instantly awakened my previous memories. Whenever Song Yishuan was angry before, he would instinctively push his glasses. At first, I didn't understand. Later, after I knew it, as soon as his hand touched his glasses, I would rush towards him like a sycophant and keep apologizing. Strangely enough, I didn't like him at that time, but I still couldn't help but try to please him. But just now, I understood. I was played by him. No, it was my carelessness. I still have to go to class. I'm leaving now. Now that I had suddenly understood, I hated Song Yishuan even more. I raised my foot and ran away in one go. Song Yishuan still wanted to reach out to stop me, but I was already out of sight. When I returned to the classroom, the class bell just rang. This class was math. I saw that there was a different person sitting next to my seat. It was Meng Qing. When she saw me, she smiled and pulled me towards the seat. I sat in my seat, and Meng Qing immediately leaned over. Chi-Chi. I'll have this class with you. Hee. I frowned. Who wants to have class with you? You'd better go back. I can't listen to the class properly with you here. She didn't seem to hear the impatience in my tone and actually rubbed against my arm. Come on, it's just one class. Chi-Chi can still learn even if you don't listen. I felt speechless. If it were in my previous life, I would have been carried away by this sentence of hers. I opened my mouth. But the teacher had already stepped into the classroom one step ahead. It was too late. I held my forehead and stopped talking. 5. This was a math class. High school math was extremely difficult. Missing one class might require half a day of making up after class. I picked up the textbook and focused on listening to the teacher. Meng Qing was unhappy and started to find topics to talk to me about. Chi-Chi, you scared me to death this morning. Fortunately, you weren't scalded, otherwise I would have been so heartbroken. I remained silent. Come on, did you see that guy you bumped into this morning? Isn't he super handsome? He's the guy I wanted to introduce to you yesterday. I took a deep breath and forced a smile. He's so handsome. If you like him, do you want me to help you chase him? Her smile froze on her face. After hesitating for a while, she ignored my question and continued. His name is Song Yishuan. He's a transfer student in class 8. When I talked to him last time and mentioned you, teacher, I'm sorry, I didn't understand this question. Could you please explain it again? I raised my hand and pointed to the example question in the textbook. The teacher was an old man of some age. Perhaps it was the first time someone asked a question in class. He smiled gratifyingly. Okay, this, classmate Jiang Chi-Chi, I want to praise you. Your learning spirit is really commendable. Regarding this learning spirit, we have to start from 100 years ago. I stared at the teacher in disbelief. He talked from math to history and I still didn't get the explanation of the question I wanted to hear until the class was over. After class, I watched the teacher fly out like the wind. Seeing this, Meng Qing immediately interrupted. Chi-Chi, don't you know how to do it? Let Yishuan teach you. Yishuan's math is really... Before Meng Qing could finish her sentence, a math textbook appeared in front of me. It was Lu Jingqing. He yawned and sat in front of me. Which question? I didn't react. Which question didn't you understand just now? I understood what he meant. I opened the example question just now. His beautiful fingers landed on the textbook, and he picked up a blank piece of paper beside him and started to solve the problem. Meng Qing was stunned and also leaned over. After Lu Jingqing finished writing the solution, he moved the paper in front of me. On the white paper, all the problem-solving ideas of that question were clearly written. I could even understand the solution of this question without him explaining. He stretched and patted my head. Wait for me to go home together after school tonight. I nodded. He got up and was about to leave. Meng Qing suddenly stood up from the chair. Jingqing, I also have a question that I don't understand. Can you teach me? Teacher Chen's office is just downstairs. Lu Jingqing refused her without looking back. Meng Qing seemed to be frozen. Behind her, my heart was pounding. How on earth did I manage to hate Lu Jingqing so much in my previous life? 6. After school, as soon as I packed my things, Lu Jingqing was already waiting for me at the door. I smiled and walked towards him. Meng Qing popped out again. Chi-Chi, my stomach hurts so much. I'm feeling so uncomfortable. I ignored her and continued to walk towards Lu Jingqing. Meng Qing directly grabbed my hand. Chi-Chi, I'm really in pain. I was so speechless. Did she think others were fools just because they didn't get angry? If you're not feeling well, go see a doctor. Why are you pulling me? Am I a doctor? Meng Qing let go of my hand. Then, she started crying. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Lu Jingqing stepped forward. I'll take you there. I didn't understand. Meng Qing looked up. Aren't you feeling unwell? I'll take you to the hospital. Lu Jingqing repeated it again. When Meng Qing heard this, she replied softly with an okay. Then she bypassed me and left with Lu Jingqing. I stood there in a daze. 2 seconds later, it felt as if something tugged at my heart, and I felt a bit uncomfortable. After taking several deep breaths, I watched as the people in the classroom gradually dispersed, and I walked away along with the crowd. On the way home, I couldn't help but kick the stones at my feet a couple of times. As a result, when I exerted a bit too much force, I sprained my ankle. My tense emotions exploded in an instant. I plopped down on the ground directly. What the hell? Why am I so unlucky? It's all Lu Jingqing's fault. Didn't he say we'd go together? He's a damned liar. I'll make sure you can't have what you want in this life either, buddy. Can't have what I want. I was startled. When I looked up and saw Lu Jingqing, I got even angrier. Ignoring the pain in my foot, I got up and walked away. Lu Jingqing followed. I gave him a dirty look. Stay away from me. He raised his eyebrows, looked at my limping figure, and stopped. I thought to myself, so he's not going to explain, huh, fine. I continued walking forward quickly. Maybe because I was trying to do two things at once, I didn't see the sign that said no entry. Below it was a sewer covered with an iron sheet. By the time I realized it, I had already been pulled back by Lu Jingqing. Don't you care about your life? Can't you see that huge sign up there? I only realized it later, and then my eyes turned red. Leave me alone. I'm not talking to liars. Even if I die today and jump down from here, I won't pay attention to you. Lu Jingqing was amused by me. But I was fuming with anger. Seeing that he didn't seem to want to explain, I turned around and walked away. After taking 2 steps, I was pulled back again. Yes, I'm a liar. Hearing his words, half of my anger subsided, but I still didn't plan to pay attention to him and just walked forward on my own. But because of my sprained ankle, I had to be careful with every step. Suddenly, Lu Jingqing quickly walked in front of me and squatted down. 7, come on, I'll carry you on my back. I felt a bit pleased inside, but since I wasn't completely over my anger yet, I coughed twice and said in a sarcastic tone, is this back only for me, or do you carry others too? Lu Jingqing chuckled, come on, it's only for you. Getting a satisfactory answer, I jumped onto his back. He carried me and walked slowly. I brought my mouth close to his ear. Aren't you going to explain? His tone was calm, for someone insignificant. Is it necessary? I sneered and tightened my hands around his neck. She may not be necessary, but you stood me up today. Lu Jingqing stopped in his tracks and looked back at me. The moment our eyes met, my face blushed again, much to my annoyance. I had thought that Lu Jingqing would tell me righteously that nothing had happened between them. Instead, he actually asked me, Jiang Qiqi, have you been possessed? The air suddenly fell silent, and the corners of my mouth almost dropped to the ground. Okay. I'm not joking anymore. I took her to the entrance of the mental hospital, and then I came back. I burst out laughing, and Lu Jingqing laughed too. He just kept carrying me forward. In a trance, I seemed to see our future. He walked very slowly, stretching a 5-minute journey into 20 minutes. When we got to the door of my house, I saw a familiar figure. Qiqi, why are you so late today? Oh, Jingqing is here too. It was my stepmother, Xia Chenxiao. The moment she saw me getting off Lu Jingqing's back, the smile on her face faded. I nodded politely at her. Just as I was about to go home, Lu Jingqing took my hand. I'll come pick you up at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. I was a bit confused. Wasn't tomorrow Saturday? He added, to give you tutoring. I smiled and agreed. I watched him leave before going inside. After changing into my slippers, Xia Chenxiao crept up beside me without me noticing. Her obsequious smile made me feel uncomfortable all over. Qiqi, why did you come back with Jingqing today? It's not that I'm saying this, but it's always better for you to stay away from him. Have you forgotten what I told you before? I continued with what I was doing and replied perfunctorily, it was too long ago. I can't remember clearly. She didn't give up and came closer again. Qiqi, don't you want to live your whole life under surveillance? I nodded, yeah. Is there anything else? If not, I'll go upstairs first. After that, I walked straight to my room. After doing my homework for a while, I felt thirsty, so I went downstairs to get a glass of water. As I passed by Xia Chuanxia's room, I heard some noise inside. My curiosity drove me to get closer. Mom, I must be with Jingqing. I can't let that bitch Jiang Qiqi steal him away. It was Meng Qing's voice. Mom knows. I don't know what's wrong with that little bitch today. She suddenly clung to Lu Jingqing. But it doesn't matter. You make the arrangements on your end, and I'll ask Jiang Yanwei to dissolve the engagement between Jiang Qiqi and Lu Jingqing. Then she won't be able to marry him even if she wants to. I looked at the hot water in my hand and smiled. Why does she think that my dad will take her side? 8. Back then, my dad married Xia Chenxiao just to find me a companion. I knew better than anyone that my dad not only didn't love Xia Chenxiao, but after all these years of getting along, he already knew what kind of person Xia Chenxiao was. The stupid ones are the Xia Chenxiao family. Do they really think that all rich people are brainless idiots? except for me in my previous life. I carried the water and quietly went back to my room. Early the next morning, I got up at 8 o'clock to get ready. At 9 o'clock, I went out on time, but I didn't see Lu Jingqing. Instead, I saw Meng Qing and Song Yishuan. I slammed the door shut, and there came a knock on the door. Chi-Chi, we specially invited you to go to the library with us. Yishuan is really good at math and can help you. I replied impatiently, no need. After a while, I heard the sound of a motorcycle stopping outside. I pulled open the curtain and saw Lu Jingqing. I ran very fast, ignoring Meng Qing and Song Yishuan who were standing aside. 10 minutes later, I appeared at the main entrance of the library, but I didn't bring a single book. I looked at the school bag behind Lu Jingqing, and then at myself. I was the fool after all. Where are your books? I felt like crying but had no tears. I forgot to bring them. I couldn't very well say that I thought your mention of going to the library yesterday was just an excuse, and that you actually wanted to go on a date with me. Could I? Lu Jingqing looked at my face carefully. Finally, he reached out his hand, and his finger gently brushed across my cheek. You put on a bit too much foundation. Pay attention next time. In the library, Lu Jingqing sat beside me, took out the math book, and started explaining the problems. I listened with sleepy eyes for the whole morning until I saw the clock in the library pointing to 12. I picked up my coat and was about to leave. Lu Jingqing tried to hold me back, but I dodged. Student Lu, I'm hungry and I really need to eat. Please let me go. After taking a taxi home, I could smell the aroma of braised pork ribs even before entering the door. If there were no surprises, I would be able to see my busy father today. I opened the door, and sure enough, my dad was sitting on the sofa. In the kitchen, Xia Chenxiao was busy. Tisk, she can only show off her skills in cooking. I threw down my coat and threw myself into my dad's arms. Come to think of it, ever since I got together with Song Yishuan, my dad had been completely disappointed in me, so I never saw him again until I died. Dad, I missed you so much. I rubbed against my dad's arms. He was a bit stunned, and then he patted my head. What do you want to buy this time? When I heard that, I pouted. Can't your daughter act coquettishly with you if she doesn't want to buy anything? As soon as I finished speaking, Xiao Chenxiao brought out the last dish from the kitchen. Time to eat. Come on, Chi-Chi, there's also the braised pork ribs you like today. I pulled my dad and got up to go to the dining table. 9. During the meal, I kept putting food on Jiang Yanwei's plate. Xia Chenxiao beside me didn't even have room to put the food she wanted to pick up. In my previous life, not only did I not listen to Jiang Yanwei, but I also opposed him everywhere, which made my own father disappointed in me. This time, pleasing my own father is the second step of my counterattack. Oh, Chi-Chi has grown up and knows how to show filial piety to your dad. Xia Chenxiao spoke at an inappropriate time. I ignored her, and my dad smiled politely. During this meal, Xia Chenxiao felt extremely awkward. She couldn't get a word in edgewise, and she couldn't even pick up any food. After the meal, I climbed upstairs. Then I suddenly remembered that my phone was still on the sofa, so I turned back. My dad and Xia Chenxiao were still eating. When I was almost at the bottom of the stairs, I heard Xia Chenxiao's voice. Yanwei, I think there's something wrong with Chi-Chi today. She must have something she wants to ask you for. I stopped in my tracks and sat directly on the stairs. I wanted to see what Xia Chenxiao was up to. My dad was still eating, and Xia Chenxiao continued. Yanwei, I won't hide it from you. Chi-Chi told me yesterday that she really doesn't want to marry Lu Jingqing, but she's too afraid to tell you herself. So she asked me to tell you. After hearing that, my dad frowned but still didn't say anything. At that time, my dad also knew that I disliked Lu Jingqing, but he always thought that as long as the engagement wasn't dissolved, we would still make up. He always prefers gentle persuasion to force. Maybe he also guessed that I was acting coquettishly with him today to talk about this matter, so he didn't refute. Seeing this, Xia Chenxiao put down her chopsticks and continued to exaggerate. Oh, Yanwei, although Jingqing is very excellent, there's nothing we can do if Chi-Chi doesn't like him. Who told you I don't like him? I couldn't stand it anymore and got up and walked out. She and Meng Qing are truly mother and daughter. They say the same things. When Xia Chenxiao saw me, her face turned ashen. Chi-Chi, why did you come down? I sneered and sat beside my dad. This is my home. I can go up or down whenever I want. It's not your place to tell me what to do, is it? Xia Chenxiao's face became even uglier. After all, I had never talked to her like that before. Before this, our relationship was still passable. Chi-Chi, also, I've never told you that I don't want to marry Lu Jingqing." She called my name, but I interrupted her and continued. As soon as my dad heard that, he beamed with joy and took my hand. "Chi-Chi, do you really think so? Dad thought you really didn't like that boy from the Lu family." I held my dad's hand back. "Dad, I wrongly blamed you before. I thought you arranged this engagement for your own sake. So many people want to marry into the Lu family, but I was ungrateful. I was so wrong." After that, my dad and I hugged each other and cried. Seeing this, Xia Chenxiao immediately found an excuse to leave, but how could I let her off so easily? "Aunt Xia, you heard what I said, right? Don't make decisions for me anymore in the future, otherwise, I can't guarantee what I might say." Xia Chenxiao stopped in her tracks, looked at me, nodded, and then ran away. 10. After dealing with everything, I went back to my room contentedly and took a nap after getting my phone. When I woke up again, it was already 6 o'clock in the afternoon. I went downstairs feeling parched to get some water and found that there was already a glass of water poured on the coffee table. Maybe I had learned my lesson. So I didn't touch that glass of water. Instead, I refilled a cup from the water dispenser. Just as I took a sip of the newly filled water, my phone rang. I took 2 more sips and was about to answer the call, but after taking 2 steps, my vision actually became a bit blurry. I forced myself to walk to the coffee table. My vision became more and more blurry. I picked up my phone, and the caller ID showed Lu Jingqing. Before I could answer, I lost consciousness. In the last moment before losing consciousness, I panicked. Am I going to die again? Can I be resurrected by watching the Brain Gold advertisement this time? The moment I regained consciousness, I instinctively reached out to touch my body. Thank goodness, I was still in my physical form, but when I looked again, the decoration style here was that of a hotel. I looked at the white bedsheet on my body and realized that my clothes were already gone. Leaving only 2 pieces of cloth to cover my modesty, I widened my eyes and found that there was a man lying beside me. When I saw his face clearly, I was almost scared to death. It was Song Yishuan. I pulled the quilt over me and ran to the corner wrapped in the quilt. Song Yishuan got up when he heard the noise. When he saw me in the corner, he smiled. "Sorry, it's out of necessity. I have to wrong you for now." I thought something was seriously wrong. If Song Yishuan was here, it meant that this matter definitely had something to do with Meng Qing and her mother. I had already witnessed how ruthless they were in my previous life. Maybe because I hadn't fallen out with my dad and my relationship with Lu Jingqing had also improved. I might have already watched the advertisement again, playing dirty tricks. "Huh, what do you want? If you want money, I have it too. I'm much richer than Meng Qing. Let me go, and I'll give you double the amount." Song Yishuan's eyes sparkled. And then he sighed. "Although that's the case, it's already too late. I won't do anything to betray my employer either." I gritted my teeth, and my hands trembled involuntarily. What the hell? A money grubber playing the loyalty card. Do you even deserve it? If I'm not wrong, Meng Qing wants to ruin me. The next second, there came a fierce crashing sound at the door. I panicked completely and had already imagined the headline news for tomorrow. Song Yishuan stood up and said to me as he walked. "Sorry, Miss Jiang, I also." Bang, the door was kicked open, and Song Yishuan was knocked to the ground with a punch. I looked up and saw that it was Lu Jingqing. There were still some fine beads of sweat on his forehead, and his eyes were bloodshot, as if he had just been crying. Seeing him, even though I had thought it was no big deal at first, my eyes instantly turned red. He walked quickly towards me and pulled me into his arms. "Chi-Chi, I'm sorry, I'm late." 11. I was carried home in a princess carry by Lu Jingqing. After Song Yishuan was taken away by the police, he immediately revealed his true colors and confessed everything. My dad, upon learning about this, even cancelled his plane ticket to Country M. When my dad saw me, I was lying beside Lu Jingqing and eating a cake. When my dad saw me like this, he first patted Lu Jingqing on the shoulder, and then slumped down in relief. "Thank you, Jingqing. If it weren't for you, I really don't know what would have happened to Chi-Chi today." As soon as my dad finished speaking, the door opened again. "Is my daughter-in-law okay?" I heard the voice before seeing the person. It was Lu Jingqing's mother. The moment I saw his mother, I was still amazed, including the previous times. I hadn't seen his mother for almost 5 or 6 years. I have to say, Lu Jingqing's mother is really beautiful, and the more I look at her, the more beautiful she seems. I have no resistance to good-looking sisters. I put down the cake in my hand and replied with a smile, "Aunt Lu, I'm fine. Look, I'm still full of energy." Afraid that she wouldn't believe me, I got off the sofa and jumped twice. Seeing this, Lu Jingqing's mother patted her chest. then pulled me to her side and hugged me tightly. "Oh, my little baby, it's good that you're okay, you almost scared me to death, Auntie," after chatting for a long time. My dad's face turned serious after answering a phone call. Xia Chenxiao booked a plane ticket to Country F just now. After saying that, Lu Jingqing sat up from the sofa, and my dad didn't hesitate. He picked up the car keys and was about to leave. I also trotted along behind. Lu Jingqing glanced at me. "Go back, little girls shouldn't join in the fun for this kind of thing." I shook my head and insisted on going with them. Besides, I'm no longer a little girl, having experienced death once. My mentality is like that of an 80-year-old woman. I'd even seen the way I died miserably. How could I be afraid of them catching Xia Chenxiao? No, Xia Chenxiao has caused me so much suffering. If I don't see her being caught with my own eyes, I'll be so miserable. I acted coquettishly while holding Lu Jingqing's arm, and he had to nod in agreement. The airport was a long way away, and my dad drove very fast. I felt a bit dizzy in the back seat, seeing that I was uncomfortable. Lu Jingqing pressed my head against his shoulder. "It will be better if you close your eyes." 20 minutes later, we arrived at the airport. The police car arrived at the place almost at the same time. After getting out of the car, my dad greeted the police. When he turned around and saw me being supported by Lu Jingqing, his eyes lit up. "Ah, Jingqing, take good care of Chi-Chi. I'll go and look for someone first." Lu Jingqing nodded and slowly dragged me forward while I was retching. There were a lot of people in the airport, and because I was carsick, I could only sit at the entrance with Lu Jingqing and wait. Lu Jingqing held a bottle of water in one hand and supported me with the other. He sighed. "I just said don't come with us, but you insisted. See, now you're carsick." I whined melodramatically. "Woo, my head is so dizzy." He gave me a helpless look and then started massaging my temples. I closed my eyes and didn't notice the fierce gaze behind me at all. 12. Chi-Chi. "Behind you," my dad's heart-rending shout came. I opened my eyes and found that Meng Qing was actually holding a knife in her hand and rushing towards me. I quickly pushed Lu Jingqing away. To be honest, after being hit and killed by a car in my previous life, I'd become immune to any tools that can harm me. Lu Jingqing was pushed away by me. The moment Meng Qing got close to me, I nimbly dodged. She was still cursing non-stop. "Jiang Chi-Chi, it's you who stole everything from me. You even stole my mother. Why do you still get to live? Why?" She was shouting behind me while I was running in front. Xia Chenxiao was brought over by the police. She cried and called out to Meng Qing. "Qingqing, stop quickly, Mom was wrong. Don't do anything stupid." Meng Qing kept chasing after me, unwilling to give up. The police from all directions raised their guns, and I successfully ran to the safe area. Meng Qing looked at the scene in front of her and stopped in her tracks as if waking up from a dream. Then she knelt down and sat on the ground. The knife in her hand slipped, and she looked ahead with empty eyes. The police immediately arrested her and put handcuffs on her. Only then did I take 2 deep breaths. Lu Jingqing walked up to me. I couldn't stand anymore and collapsed into his arms. Looking at Meng Qing's back as she was being taken away, I sighed. She was indeed a poor soul. Her own mother abandoned her, worked as a cook for someone else's family for more than 10 years, and in the end, didn't end up well. I shook my head and sighed again. Since when have I become so benevolent? Her mother and daughter almost cost you your life twice. I slapped myself on the face with a slap sound. Lu Jingqing was stunned and quickly protected my face. "What are you doing? Don't do anything stupid." 13. After Meng Qing and Xia Chenxiao were arrested, I never heard any news about them again and focused on preparing for the college entrance examination. After the college entrance examination, my grades were surprisingly good, a full 50 points higher than in my previous life. I was so excited that I danced around while calling Lu Jingqing, but I heard him sighing and complaining. My heart skipped a beat. Could it be that he didn't perform well in the exam? It's okay, everyone has times when they don't do well in the exam. Worst case scenario, I'll repeat the senior year with you. I seemed to have made up my mind, but Lu Jingqing laughed. "Didn't perform well? I didn't say that." I looked at his back, feeling mixed emotions inside. When my dad learned about my grades, he was so excited that he couldn't sleep all night. The next morning, he pulled me into the study and said to me mysteriously, "Chi-Chi, you did so well in the exam this time. Dad thinks your talent shouldn't be limited to the country." I was shocked. It seemed that he was going to let me study abroad. "So Dad has decided to send you abroad. The school has already been found. It's the best one in Country M." My dad kept talking, but I was stunned. Was I going to be separated from Lu Jingqing this time too, if I went abroad? The distance between us wouldn't be just 2,000 kilometers. Dad, what about Lu Jingqing? I asked. My dad didn't hesitate. Jingqing will definitely go with you. After he said that, I couldn't hear anything else he said clearly. Going to university with Lu Jingqing. This sentence kept repeating in my mind. 14. 2 months later, Lu Jingqing and I said goodbye to our families at the airport. At the airport, I suddenly remembered Meng Qing and the others, so I casually asked my dad. How are Meng Qing and the others? My dad waved his hand. They've already been sent to do hard labor in prison. He said this lightly, as if Meng Qing was just an insignificant person. Hearing this, Lu Jingqing tightened his hold on my hand. The moment the plane took off, Lu Jingqing whispered in my ear, Miss Jiang Qiqi, would you like to have a campus romance with me? I looked at the plane gradually leaving the ground and nodded firmly. Story 2. On the day my amniotic fluid broke prematurely, my husband was busy celebrating his ex-girlfriend's birthday. I died on a street corner waiting for help. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself back in high school. A handsome, sunny boy sitting behind me blushed as he asked if I would be his girlfriend. Stop with the disgusting talk. Don't let me hear that again. At school, everyone was talking about how Jiang He's devoted follower, Lin Yan, had fallen for someone else. She hadn't brought Jiang He his usual morning milk, nor had she brought him drinks and towels during basketball, nor had she saved him a seat in the library. She wasn't even chattering beside him during breaks. She's been following him for almost a year, and she's just giving up. Maybe she's just throwing a tantrum, waiting for Jiang He to sweet-talk her. I think it's really a change of heart. I heard the school heartthrob from Third High is chasing her, with a slap. Jiang He slammed his English book on the desk. It's reading time now. If you want to gossip, go outside. Just as he said this, I happened to walk to the door. The classroom fell silent. Dozens of eyes stared directly at me, pretending not to notice. I walked to my seat, pulled out the chair, and sat down. When I opened my bag, there were 2 glass bottles of milk inside. It must have been the aunt at home who, out of habit, heated 2 cups of milk. Forgetting I had said I only needed 1 from now on, Jiang He's deskmate, Zhang Xiaoyang, nudged his arm and whispered, Lin Yan is trying to make amends with you. I told you she wouldn't last a few days. Jiang He's eyes flickered, but in his line of sight, I handed the milk to my deskmate instead. Here, you drink it. Song Ning, visibly shocked, asked uncertainly. For me, I nodded. Then, I opened my Chinese textbook and started to read silently. Song Ning leaned closer, curious. Yan. Why have you started studying? I didn't look up. I'm thinking about getting into class next semester. I had entered the school with the second highest score in the city but had deliberately underperformed on the first monthly test to be in the same class as Jiang He, dropping from class A to class F. But now, I had no reason to stay in this class, thinking about the boy behind me, who, 9 years later, would become my husband. Yet, when I was struggling to carry our new life, he lingered in the tenderness of his first love, our child, carrying his blood, hadn't even seen the world before dying with me on that cold night. I couldn't forgive him, so, it was time to end this tragic connection early. At noon, I went with Song Ning to the cafeteria. After the chef served me the pork rib rice I wanted, he smiled and asked, What are you getting for Jiang He today? We have his favorite squirrel fish. I paused. I remembered how passionately and boldly I pursued Jiang He during high school. I stuffed his desk full of love letters. Despite the principal's warnings, I confessed loudly to him with a megaphone on the podium under the fluttering flag. Even the cafeteria chef knew his favorite dishes. Everyone knew I liked Jiang He. It was almost like I was a joke, determined to bash my head against the south wall without turning back. Now, thinking about it, it all seemed ridiculous. I shook my head. I'm not getting his food anymore. I paused, then added, I won't do it ever again. The chef paused in his motion to serve the squirrel fish, and I turned and walked away with Song Ning. Unexpectedly, we met Jiang He at the end of the line. Our eyes met, and he looked stunned. I moved my gaze away first and walked off without looking back. Song Ning whispered, Lin Yan, what's going on? Why are you suddenly ignoring Jiang He? I sat at the table, mixing the pork rib sauce with white rice. It was nothing special, just that life used to be quite dull before, she said. After I stopped revolving my life around Jiang He, I realized how much free time I actually had. I could chat with the girls about celebrity gossip, share my favorite strawberry milkshakes and donuts. With the guys, I could arm wrestle or see who could throw paper airplanes the farthest. I took out the old exercise books from my desk and gradually finished them. During breaks, I'd feed the stray cats at school and even made them a shelter out of old cardboard boxes. A high school life without constant worry turned out to be youthful and wonderful. Several days passed, and then came our school's basketball tournament. The homeroom teacher asked us all to go to the playground to cheer for our classmates. I remember in my past life, I even formed a cheerleading squad and learned a complicated dance to support Jianghee's team, but due to a mishap in a lift, I was dropped hard on the ground, resulting in multiple injuries. Eventually, Jianghee's team won the game with a high score amidst a sky full of congratulations and applause. His eyes shone with brotherhood and honor, but I was absent from his gaze, this time. I used feeling unwell as an excuse to ask the teacher for leave and stayed back in the classroom to memorize English vocabulary. Such silly, absurd things. I thought I'd never do them again in my life. Song Ning came running back halfway through and said to me, "Today, Jianghe was completely off his game, kept glancing at the spectator stands as if he was looking for someone." After saying that, she looked at me and asked, "Yen Yen, could he have been looking for you?" "No way," I replied, continuing to write down English words, calmly denying it. During this period, Jianghee's dislike for Lin Yan was practically written all over his face. He was happier when I wasn't there. Song Ning continued to ramble on about the game. I really wasn't in the mood to listen, and although I didn't want to interrupt her, I excused myself to go get some hot water. Just as I stepped out of the classroom, I saw a few people walking quickly towards me. Just as I was stepping aside, Zhang Xiaoyang, supporting Jianghe, shouted at me, "Lin Yan, don't you have a pain relief spray? Quick, bring it for Jianghe. He's hurt." Indeed, because Jianghe liked playing basketball, I had prepared a small medical kit with many imported medicines not available on the market, which were very effective for bruises and sprains. However, he had clearly won the match in my previous life. How could he be injured this time? "Lin Yan, what are you spacing out for?" Zhang Xiaoyang urged anxiously. I snapped back to reality, glanced at Jianghe's swollen ankle, and said with an indifferent voice, "It expired." I threw it away. After saying that, I took my water cup to the water room to fill it up, not sparing him even a glance. What was I thinking? His injury, what does it have to do with me? He didn't care a bit about my pain in the past life. Why should I feel sorry for him? Behind me, Zhang Xiaoyang gasped in shock, and a piercing gaze seemed to bore into my back, as if trying to drill a hole through me. Jianghe took leave due to his foot injury and didn't come to school for 2 days. When my mother heard about this, she had the maid make bone soup and insisted I deliver it to Jianghe to help him recover. Just because our families have been close for generations and she watched Jianghe grow up, she insisted that I personally visit him. Only then would she be at ease, although I repeatedly expressed my reluctance. It was hard to withstand my mother's insistence. She even took measures to ensure I wouldn't run away halfway. He also instructed the driver to make sure I was dropped off right at Jianghe's doorstep. So, there I was, holding a pot of chicken soup, heading to Jianghe's house. It was dusk, and the leaves of the plane trees rustled in the wind as I walked, wrapping my thin coat tighter around me. I got out of the car and was greeted by the sight of a small, 3-story white building. The last rays of the sunset cast an irritating orange hue over it. It was all too familiar. As a child, I often ran over to his house, and we even lived together there for nearly 2 years. Every corner of this place was filled with memories of us, me, trying to comfort him through his heartbreak, and him, promising to treat me well for a lifetime, a promise I believed in. My heart felt like it was being torn apart, the pain making my whole body tremble. After a long while, I calmed down, opened the thermos, and the aromatic scent of bone broth wafted out. I ended up feeding it to a stray dog on the ground. He didn't deserve such a fine soup. Only after the dog had finished it did I prepare to leave. Just as I turned to go, someone called my name. The voice was youthful yet familiar, but I was too indifferent to even turn around. Jianghe quickly caught up to me, his cane wobbling, nearly causing him to fall right in front of me. Sweat beaded on his pale forehead as he almost choked out, "Lin Yan, what on earth are you thinking?" Swallowing the bitterness in my throat, I looked at the boy before me, once my dearest, now just defiant and youthful. I curved my lips into a half-smile, my expression cold and fearless. "I don't understand what you're saying." With that, I continued walking. He quickly stepped in front of me again, his chest heaving, lips pale. It was clear that even those few steps had been a painful struggle for him. "Why are you ignoring me?" Jianghe's eyes were desperate for answers, but he couldn't read my face. Then, pointing to the ground where the food container lay, he continued, "Wasn't that bone soup for me?" why would you feed it to a dog? You used to insist on visiting me at home, and now you won't even come up. I've been hurt for days, and you haven't shown any concern. Isn't this better?" I cut him off coldly. "After all, you find me annoying." He was speechless for a moment before he nodded. "Yes, I don't like you pestering me. I'm happier when you stay away from me." He stared at me, a sneer forming. "Lin Yen, you better not be playing some twisted game. You know I hate that game." I couldn't blame He for thinking that way. In my past life, I did many foolish things to catch his attention, although he eventually became my husband. I never truly won his heart and even met a tragic end on the streets, so, in this life, I won't waste any more time or emotions on him. "You think too highly of yourself. I don't have time to play games with you." My voice was flat, emotionless. "The bone soup was my mother's idea. She insisted the driver bring it. You know how she is. Just pretend you've already had it, and don't bother me." Jianghe's look was one of disbelief. "You think I'm a dog?" I shrugged. "If that's what you think, I can't help it." Without giving him a chance to argue, I walked away. Seeing him every day at school was already enough torture. Now, I just wanted to disappear. But just a few steps later, the thermos suddenly arced through the air and crashed to the ground with a bang. Then came Jianghe's furious voice. "I sure as hell don't need your damn soup." Since the soup incident, Jianghe and I had not spoken a word to each other. I'd decided to no longer be involved with anything related to him. Instead of desperately trying to win his favor, I've shifted all my focus to my studies, aiming to return to Class A as soon as possible. Once I'm back in Class A, I won't have to see him every day. With the college entrance exams 2 years away, unlike my previous life, I won't deliberately downgrade my academic track to stay in the same city he chooses for university. Watching him break up and get back together with his first love in a dramatic cycle. I plan to distance myself far from all this drama, ideally to the point where our paths never cross again in this lifetime. However, the high school curriculum is proving quite challenging for me at the moment, so I asked my mom to find a tutor to help me catch up. Among many candidates, I chose Xijing, a top student from Class A who significantly outperformed me in the middle school entrance exams and attended the same school and grade as I did. Our first conversation was notably straightforward. I said, "I want to improve my grades as quickly as possible to return to Class A." He simply replied, "Leave it to me." I began to spend more time with Xijing, accumulating questions about problems I couldn't solve and then visiting him during breaks to discuss them. We even started to meet at a nearby fast food restaurant after school to work through questions together. Over time, new rumors began to swirl at our school. People said that I had stopped obsessing over Jianghe because I had shifted my affection towards Xijing, using my studies as an excuse to harass this academic achiever, which they found repulsive. Xijing's fan club, particularly the girls, were not pleased. One day after school, they cornered me behind the academic building. "Lin Yen, stay away from Xijing. Someone from Class F like you doesn't deserve to be around him," said a girl with a buzz cut, muscular build, and taller than me, likely a shot put specialist from Class C. The 3 girls with her, though not as tall, looked just as menacing. They quickly formed a circle, trapping me in the middle. Trying to remain calm, I said, "Xijing is my tutor. I pay him for his services, and I haven't taken any undue advantage." The girl with the buzz cut scoffed, "What tutor? Isn't that just your excuse to hit on Xijing? Lin Yen, you're shameless. You went to extremes chasing Jianghe and now you're harassing Xijing. Even as a girl, I'm embarrassed for you. You're truly disgusting." Another added, "He'll never like someone as fickle and academically indifferent as you. Xijing is a good student. If his grades drop because of you and it affects his college entrance, can you bear the responsibility?" I was speechless. Yes, I admit I was a bit of a romantic fool before, but I've since reformed and am focused on my studies. Why does helping me with a few questions upset them so much, especially when I'm paying for his help? Enough talking. The buzzcut girl lost her patience and stepped forward, bumping into me with her chest, pushing me back several steps. "You won't realize your mistake until we teach you a lesson." As they rolled up their sleeves, ready to start a fight, Xijing suddenly appeared. He grabbed my wrist and pulled me behind him. His tall frame and broad shoulders exuded an air of inviolability. The girls, who had been aggressive moments before, instantly changed their demeanor, showing a mix of innocence and cuteness at his arrival. "Xijing, don't be fooled by Lin Yen," they pleaded. "She's just a schemer, couldn't chase after Jianghe so now she's bothering you," they said. we're just looking out for you. She's a poor student from class F. What if she affects your studies? She just wants to date you, unlike us, who truly care for you." While they called me a schemer, they continued to gossip. At that moment, someone nearby spoke up. "Lin Yan is my sugar daddy," they declared loudly, leaving even me momentarily stunned. Xijing confidently put his arm around my shoulders and announced, "I rely on her for my livelihood. Anyone who tries to cut off my financial support will have to deal with me." After his bold declaration, he quickly pulled me away amidst the shocked stares of everyone around us. Finally, we stepped out of the school. He held my shoulder, turning me around to check from head to toe. "Did you lose out on anything?" he asked. I shook my head. He sighed in relief. "That's good, I'll handle those people. They won't bully you anymore. You won't stop me from tutoring you because of this, will you?" I can safely say no one could teach you better than I do. Seeing my silence, he grew anxious. "I'll take over your duties too. I'll even fetch hot water for you until you graduate. From now on, you're my boss," he said, looking down, his scent of cedar filling the air. "Is that okay, Lin Yan?" I found him amusing and nodded my head. Honestly, Xijing really has a knack for explaining things, and I'd probably struggle with a new tutor. His expression relaxed. "From now on, when I come to your class, if they have to say something, let them talk about me." The next day during the big class break, Xijing showed up in my class as arranged. You know, class A students are academically excellent and proud, usually disdainful of mixing with class F students. His arrival instantly caused a sensation in the class. Under the gaze of dozens of eyes, Xijing confidently walked up to me, casually took the pen from my hand, glanced at the math problem I couldn't solve, and quickly jotted down the solution on a scrap paper. I admiringly gave him a thumbs up. A true genius indeed. Behind me, Zhang Xiaoyang nudged Jiang He's arm and whispered, "That's Xijing, the one who's been getting close to Lin Yan recently." Jiang He scoffed and turned his head to continue sleeping, but just a few seconds later, he sat upright and kicked my stool's leg hard. "Lin Yan, you're disturbing my sleep," he complained. I frowned at him. I had been quietly studying the problem. Besides, the class was noisy everywhere, much louder than me, so I ignored him and continued discussing the problem with Xijing. Out of nowhere, a ballpoint pen flew from behind and hit my notebook, leaving a long black line. Damn it. Just when I'd solved the problem, Jiang He leaned back in his chair, arms crossed, legs on the table, looking unapproachable. "We from Class F don't welcome people from Class A, be sensible and get out," he said, a bottom-ranked class rejecting a top student that was just looking for trouble. I took a deep breath and retorted, "Jiang He, if you're sick, go take your medicine, don't go crazy here." Jiang He's face darkened completely, his eyes fixed on me fiercely. Zhang Xiaoyang and Song Ning were so frightened that they gasped for air. I glared at him, turned my head, and began to tidy up the books on the table. "Xijing, let's go to the rooftop and ignore the lunatic." After saying that, I grabbed Xijing's hand and walked out. The noisy classroom suddenly fell silent, and all eyes were on us. Behind me, Zhang Xiaoyang muttered softly, "Damn, is she really with Xijing?" Jiang He was silent. Due to Jiang He's disturbance, the long break was almost over. I made plans with Xijing to meet at the milk tea shop after school to study together. However, when I packed my bag and was ready to leave in the evening, Jiang He appeared at the classroom door. Considering his behavior during the day, I didn't want to waste words and planned to ignore him and leave. But he blocked my way. "I heard you want to get into Class A." I was a bit impatient. "Yes, what about it? I'll find you a tutor," he said, staring down at me. "The best one. I don't need it. Xijing is enough for me." Jiang He's face turned ugly, and he gritted out a few words. "What does he know? Anyway, he knows more than you." I pushed past him and walked away without looking back. 6. Under Xijing's guidance, my academic performance improved by leaps and bounds. I achieved good results in several quizzes. However, I was still some distance away from returning to Class A. One day, when I was writing a physics test paper, Song Ning rushed in from outside, holding a bag of snacks. "I heard that a transfer student will come to our class later." I paused my pen, calculating the time. She should be coming. The class bell rang, just like in my previous life. Jiang He carried her into the classroom on his back. On her way to report to Class F, she got lost. When she passed by the basketball court, she was hit on the leg by Jiang He's basketball. I looked at Bai Jinjin's face. To be honest, she wasn't really good looking. Her eyes weren't big, her nose wasn't straight, her skin wasn't fair, and she wasn't very smart. She was thin and small, barely considered delicate, yet, such a person could make Jiang He defy his parents' orders and even go on a hunger strike to protest, just to make her his girlfriend. I almost witnessed the entire process of their relationship, from being affectionate to breaking up, getting back together, and finally breaking up again. In fact, I kind of took advantage of the situation. At that time, Jiang He was deeply hurt. He got drunk every day, looking haggard. I just accompanied him, I drank with him, smoked with him, and stayed with him when he couldn't sleep. I cried when he cried and laughed when he laughed, just like that, after getting drunk one time. He pinned me down on the bed. When he woke up, he was dazed for a while, and then he said he wanted to marry me. I laughed until I cried. I thought that all deep affection would not be let down. Who knew that when I was 7 months pregnant, these two people went on a date behind my back? I was just a side note in their magnificent love story. Bai Xinjin's seat was arranged in front of mine. Jiang He carried her carefully and placed her on the seat. She looked up, her cheeks slightly red, and whispered a thank you. Jiang He shook his head and said it was nothing. My heart felt bitter. I quickly lowered my head, and tears welled up in my eyes, almost falling. In my previous life, I was arrogant and never regarded the ordinary Bai Xinjin as a rival, but this time, I really wanted to escape. After school, Xijing came to me. Boss, your favorite strawberry milkshake. It's funny to say, although Xijing is my tutor, I should be the one providing him with good food and drink, but he always buys me all kinds of delicious food. He claims that it's for a good balance between work and rest, which can improve learning efficiency. I shook my head. Xijing, I want to drink. So the two of us went to the night market behind the school and ordered beer and skewers. Since I decided to study hard, every time I met Xijing, we were doing exercises. It was rare to come out and relax. During the meal, neither of us spoke. He was wolfing down skewers, and I was gulping down beer. After eating and drinking my fill, I was so dizzy that I could barely stand. He immediately squatted down to carry me. No need, don't be polite. I ate to have the strength to carry you. Xijing carried me without asking for my opinion. Boss, be happy. He had been with me all the time. When I didn't talk, he also remained silent. It was not until now that he said this. I lay on his back, and tears couldn't help but fall patter, patter. I couldn't tell anyone about my experiences in my previous life. No one could understand my pain. It's like I really wanted to, and should have, hated some people. But these people in this life hadn't done anything, so I had no reason to. Xijing carried me all the way, and I cried all the way. When there was only one intersection left before we reached home, I exhaled softly. Xijing, in this life, I'll be willful just this once. In the future, no one can make me cry again. Boss, Xijing's voice was gentle. If you want to be willful, then be willful. Anyway, I'll comfort you. After all, I'm good at studying and don't need to work too hard. I have plenty of time. My heart warmed, and I smiled silently. 7. The monthly exam was getting closer. I started to study even harder, hoping to be transferred to Class A as soon as possible. One day during self-study, Bai Xinjin threw a paper ball over and quietly asked me to pass it to Jiang He behind me. I was looking at the key points marked by Xijing, and this sudden action interrupted me. I was a bit annoyed. I remembered that in my previous life, it was the same. At that time, I was extremely hostile to all the girls who wanted to get close to Jiang He. I immediately opened the paper ball and found a chocolate candy and a little ghost face she drew. I was instantly furious and unceremoniously declared my ownership of Jiang He to her, telling her not to waste her efforts. However, after class, she was crying in Jiang He's arms with red eyes. The way Jiang He looked at me was as if he wanted to kill me. Thinking of this, I just glanced at the paper ball. Miss, it's self-study time. If you don't want to study, it doesn't mean others don't either. Bai Xinjin's face turned bright red, and she saidly, it's just passing a note. Is it really necessary for you to be like this? If you really love studying that much, would you be in Class F? Damn it, was she looking down on me? I'm in Class F because I want to be here, not because I only deserve to be here. After saying that, I immediately stood up, packed my things, and threw them on Bai Xinjin's desk. Since you want to pass notes so much, fine, I'll switch seats with you. You can pass them to your heart's content. Bai Xinjin's eyes were filled with tears, and her teeth left a mark on her lips. Why are you targeting me? I didn't want to snatch Jiang He from you. I just wanted to thank him. Hearing this self-exposing tone, I guessed she must have heard about how I had pursued Jiang He so blatantly. Passing this note was just to embarrass me. Unfortunately, I didn't care anymore. First, you can snatch whoever you want and thank whoever you want, it has nothing to do with me. Second, I've created convenient conditions for you. You should thank me. Then, I pulled her up and sat in her seat. In fact, I had long been fed up with being sandwiched between these two people. I just took this opportunity to leave. Finally, I sincerely hoped that these two people would be locked together and stop harming others. At this moment, Jiang-hee, who had been lying on the table sleeping, suddenly sat up straight. Seeing us switch seats, he frowned and said, Lin Yen, what do you mean? Since I refused his offer to introduce a tutor to me last time, we hadn't talked for a long time. I turned my head and smiled faintly, helping others achieve their happiness. You're welcome. Jiang-hee's face looked ugly. Taking the opportunity, Bai Jinjin picked up the paper ball and said, I'm sorry, did I wake you up? It's all my fault. I just transferred here and made classmate Lin Yen unhappy. Jiang-hee, I saw you didn't have breakfast. Do you want to have a chocolate candy? Jiang-hee was in a bad mood and impatiently knocked the paper ball out of her hand. I fucking hate sweets the most. Bai Jinjin's face turned deathly pale instantly. I didn't want to watch the love-hate drama of this couple, so I tidied up my desk and continued studying. Soon, the class ended. I picked up my cup and was about to go to the water room to get some water. Unexpectedly, Bai Jinjin snatched my cup first. With that innocent and aggrieved face again, she said, Classmate Lin Yen, I'm sorry, I said the wrong thing during self-study. Let me get water for you. Will you forgive me? No need. If you don't let me get water for you, does it mean you still don't want to forgive me? Do you really hate me that much? My temples were throbbing. It was really tiring to talk to this person. I just want to be friends with classmate Lin Yen. She continued talking to herself and shook the cup in her hand. Don't worry, I'll be quick. Then, without waiting for my reply, she ran out in a flash. Song Ning was also stunned. Is she okay? I shrugged, indicating that I didn't understand. About 5 minutes later, Bai Jinjin came in with hot water. Classmate Lin Yen, here you are. I reached out to take it, but she let go in advance and deliberately tilted the cup towards herself. The steaming hot water gushed out and almost all poured onto her hand. Bai Jinjin cried out in pain. Classmate Lin Yen, I just wanted to be friends with you. Why can't you forgive me? This shout instantly attracted the attention of the whole class. Can you believe it? A 16-year-old girl had such scheming. I originally thought that although she was plain-looking, from a poor family, and not good at studying, since she could make Jiang-hee deeply in love with her, she must have some unknown charm, but now, this was all she had. I was about to get angry when Jiang-hee suddenly rushed over. What's going on? Where did you get burned? Bai Jinjin, with tears on her face, held up her red, hot hand and said, I'm fine, don't blame classmate Lin Yen, she definitely didn't do it on purpose. Unexpectedly, he bypassed Bai Jinjin and came straight to me. He held my hand and carefully examined it several times. Compared to Bai Jinjin's bright red hand, I only had a few red dots splashed on mine. Are you blind? Jiang-hee roared at Bai Jinjin furiously. You can't even hold a cup of hot water. When these words came out, not only was Bai Jinjin stunned, but I was also shocked. I was forcefully taken to the infirmary by Jiang-hee. The doctor's exact words were, if you came any later, the wound would have already healed. Jiang-hee coughed softly and looked away. On the way back, we walked one in front of the other, not talking to each other. When we were almost at the classroom, the person behind suddenly spoke, Lin Yen, switch the seats back. Why switch back? There was a long silence. When we were almost at the door, he said, I take back what I said about hating you before. After a pause, he added, the day after tomorrow is my birthday, the whole class will be there. Will you come? 8. It was on Jiang-hee's birthday that I found out I was pregnant. The reason was that I, who usually slept little, suddenly became sleepy and gluttonous. A friend sent me a pregnancy test stick. I tried it, and sure enough, 2 lines appeared. To make sure, I also went to the hospital for an examination. The moment I confirmed the pregnancy, I almost jumped for joy. As soon as I came out of the hospital, I went to the store and bought a gift box. I put the examination result inside and tied a beautiful bow with a ribbon on it. I wholeheartedly thought this was the best gift for Jiang-hee's 25-year-old birthday, but it was a long time later that I learned from Bai Jinjin that actually, that day, he came to break up with me. Memories really hurt. I rubbed my temples. I have something to do. I can't come. The person behind stopped. It's at the manor we used to go to. I'll wait for you. When you come, I have something very important to tell you. I realized that Jiang-hee, like Bai Jinjin, couldn't understand simple words. I didn't respond and directly entered the classroom. time passed quickly, and 2 days later, it was the day. The whole class prepared birthday gifts for Jianghe. Zhang Xiaoyang prepared a basketball, and Song Ning put a bag of crispy noodles in an empty box. She snorted at me and said, Jianghe always bullied you before, giving him a bag of crispy noodles. I think I'm being kind to him. I pursed my lips and smiled. Turning my head, I saw Bai Jinjin put a coffee-colored scarf in a paper bag. There was no logo, so it should be hand-knitted by her. Unfortunately, she didn't know that Jianghe never wore anything without a brand. I went to class, took notes, and did my homework as usual until school was over. Everyone went together to take the special car sent by Jianghe's family, but I avoided the crowd and went alone to a deserted intersection. I took out a paper-folded airplane from my pocket and burned it with a lighter. In this life, I cut my losses in time, stayed away from scumbags and bitches, and lived my own life well. I'm living a good life now, and my future should be good too. The only thing I feel sorry for is the unborn child. The fire quickly devoured the paper airplane. I thought that if I ever had the chance to fall in love and get married in this life, you could come to be my child again. I'm stronger now. This time, I will definitely protect you well. I went home, curled up in the quilt, and read a book. Outside, it started to rain heavily. At 12 o'clock, Jianghe called me. I directly turned off my phone. In the middle of the night, my mom came to wake me up, saying that Jianghe was in the yard. I looked at the clock on the wall. It was 3 o'clock in the morning. The rain outside still hadn't stopped. I went out. He was standing in the drizzle. His hair was sticking to his face, and his eyes were also covered with a layer of moisture. The first thing he said when he saw me was, "Why didn't you come?" I held an umbrella, standing about 5 or 6 steps away. I didn't want to go any closer. The umbrella was small, and I really didn't want to share it with him. I never said I would go. Jianghe closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and said, "Forget it, it doesn't matter." Opening his eyes, he went to the car to get the cake and then brought it to me. "Waiting for you to blow out the candles." I didn't move. Rainwater dripped down from his hair tips, and his lips were frozen purple, but I didn't feel the slightest bit of pity. Our eyes met. In my cold eyes, he flattened the corners of his mouth, sighed, and said, "Lin Yen, can I admit defeat? Please, have mercy on me. Talk to me and don't look at me like this." My eyes fell on the cake in his hand. In the past, when it was his birthday, I was the busiest one. I had to pick a gift, make a cake by hand, write a greeting card, and decorate the venue. I didn't ask for anything in return, nor did I expect to blow out the candles with him. I just hoped he would be happy. I didn't know why Jianghe's attitude suddenly changed in this life and he started to care about me, but belated affection is cheaper than grass. I didn't care anymore. "Jianghe, do you understand? I don't like you anymore. Not only that, I don't even want to be friends with you." As soon as these words came out, Jianghe was completely stunned. What did you say?" I switched seats with Bai Jinjin because I wanted to stay away from you. "I'm trying to get into class A also to stay away from you. I used to like you, which might have troubled you. I know I was wrong, and I've changed." Jianghe shook his head vigorously. "No, it's not like that, Lin Yen. I like you. From the moment you ignored me, I knew I was wrong. I wanted you to come to my birthday party because I wanted to confess to you. I prepared flowers, fireworks, and a 3,000-word confession letter. It's too late, or maybe I'm just too vengeful. Once I've been hurt, I'll remember it. Jianghe, that's it. In the future, don't come to me again. The bond between us ends right here." The rain hit the umbrella, making a loud clatter. I turned around and walked back to the house without a second thought. This time, I was really stingy. I didn't even leave him the cheap umbrella. 9. Soon, the monthly exam results came out. I ranked among the top 10 in the school and was honored on the honor roll. I also successfully returned to Class A. On the day I was packing my things, Song Ning hugged me, crying with swollen eyes. Yen, I really don't want you to leave. After you go to Class A, we won't be able to see each other often." I stroked her head. "I'll come back to play with you often. You should also work hard. If you can get into Class A, we can still be desk mates." Song Ning wailed, "You might as well kill me." Zhang Xiaoyang gave me a notebook, hoping that I would study hard and make progress every day, and be the light of Class F. Many of my good classmates also came to talk to me for a while, giving me snacks and some small gadgets. After saying goodbye to everyone one by one, I picked up my school bag and was about to leave. Jianghe, who had been silent all this time, Came over and wanted to help me carry my things. No need, I refused. Jianghe's outstretched hand froze awkwardly. Just then, Shijing walked in from outside. He naturally took the school bag from my hand and, under Jianghe's gloomy gaze, accompanied me to Class A. When we reached the door, he went in first, hung the school bag on the desk next to his, and then patted the chair. With a big smile, he said, "Lin Yan, welcome back." I smiled, sat down next to Shijing, and held out my hand to him. "Let's get to know each other again, classmate Shijing. I'm Lin Yan from Class A." 2 years passed in a flash. During this period, Jianghe came to Class A to look for me from time to time. He would buy meals for me, bring me water, and give me an umbrella when it rained. He was chasing the person he liked with enthusiasm, persistence, and no expectation of return, just like I used to be, but I didn't respond at all. The greatest kindness in my this life was that I didn't hate or take revenge. I put all my energy into self-improvement, aiming to have no more connections with these people and avoid repeating the tragedies of my previous life. After the college entrance examination, Class F organized the last gathering. Jianghe got drunk. With red eyes, he approached me cautiously. After hesitating for a long time, he asked, "Lin Yan, I really want to die clearly. At that time, you clearly liked me so much. Why did you suddenly stop liking me?" I thought for a while and said softly, "I had a dream. In the dream, you were not nice to me." I babbled on about a lot. Strangely, when I told it again, I felt no waves in my heart. It was as if those once vivid and painful memories were someone else's story. He listened carefully. At the end, his long eyelashes drooped, and his eyes were as silent as a deep pool of autumn water. I originally thought he would take it as a clumsy joke, but unexpectedly, he looked at me seriously. "Lin Yan, the Jianghe in the previous life didn't love you, but the Jianghe in this life loves you." I took a sip of wine. The alcohol was slightly getting to my head, but the Lin Yan in this life doesn't plan to wait anymore. When the college entrance examination results came out, I applied to a university in the capital, in the city I liked, for the major I liked. I would no longer lower my status and lose myself for anyone or anything. On the day I went to the school to report, Jianghe came to see me off. In the crowded airport, his eyes were full of reluctance. He opened his arms and said, "Lin Yan, after you leave, we may not see each other for a long time. It's not too much to ask for a hug before we part, is it?" His college entrance examination results were not ideal, so he chose to repeat the senior year. After this separation, it was really hard to say when we would meet again. I took a step back, not letting his hands touch me. Cutting things off cleanly was my way of doing things in this life. His face was full of disappointment. "Okay, Lin Yan, wait for me for 1 year. I'll come to find you." I shook my head. "I won't wait. Don't waste your time." At this moment, the airport announcement sounded. I turned around and left without hesitation, not even bothering to say a polite farewell. Behind me, Jianghe's voice came, "I won't listen to you, Lin Yan. I will definitely come to find you." I took out my earphones and plugged them into my ears. After getting on the plane, I found my corresponding seat and sat down. At this time, a pleasant cedar-like smell wafted over. I turned my head and saw a face that was so handsome it was breathtaking. Shijing smiled at me. "Boss, I'll rely on you to take care of me in the next 4 years." "Sure," I replied.